Now broadcasting for a second, I thought I said, you are now muted. How am I muted? Bro, that doesn't, how do I tell? Alright, well, shit. There you go, never mind, that does help. There you go. I am now ready to go. Except my voice acting is still gonna be fucking garbage, as ever. Oh shit, I forgot. Give me one moment. Five. Alright, next. Where the fuck was I left at? No, wait. Okay, wait. Okay. Alright. Alright. Amidst the fuzziness, I had a dream. It seemed to be an afternoon. After school, my mother hugged me so tight that it made my arms uncomfortable. She kept crying and apologizing, wetting my face with endless teardrops. Why was she crying? I frankly looked at my emotionally collapsed mother. Even the supposedly familiar face appeared unfamiliar at that moment, even though she was the one who betrayed father, even though she was the one who abandoned us. So why did she look so sad? I couldn't ask a simple question from my heart, yet a voice answered nonetheless. That's how the adult world works. That was a depressed yet still young voice. Within the darkness, I realized that was none other but my own voice. I woke up from the dream in shock with the realization that my face was all wet. I couldn't recall the details of the dream itself, just the sense of bitterness weighing on my chest, rendering me breathless. There's a few spots of white light from outside on the ground. It was so quiet, I could hear my own heartbeat and the wind from the window. It was probably 4 or 5 a.m. I must have woke up early because I slept way too early the day before. I sat up to stretch my body with the joints making clear cracking sounds. The last bit of my dream vanished with the morning light. I noticed the girl was leaning against the door with the blanket with her knife next to her body. She had clearly fallen into a deep sleep. Worrying at my escape, she didn't even want to sleep in an actual bed. She had a slender body, clearly due to malnutrition, and her unkempt, shoulder-length long hair was tangled into multiple places. Her long eyebrows wrinkled together as though she couldn't find peace even in the dream. Her long hair didn't seem very healthy, and even the color was not consistent. One probably couldn't care less about their hair when eating for the night alone with an uncertainty. She could be a beauty if she cleaned herself up and maybe put on some makeup. Carefully observing her asleep face, I almost forgot she was the kidnapper. Having a totally different family might have led to a totally different life for her. The world is not fair. I murmured what she had said and wondered what emotion she said that line with. Helplessness towards society? Self-pity? Rage against the rich? I decided to stop thinking about it and focus on figuring out what to do. There was no point in taking too many risks. They might just let me go after tonight. Hearing her voice, I was glad I didn't try anything crazy. I finally managed to let her guard down around me. I just needed to be patient and wait for the opportunity. Good morning. What are you doing? She tiredly yawned and looked at me unpleasantly, waiting for breakfast. She clearly didn't buy it and walked up to me with a knife. She checked if the rope was loosened. You're free once your dad pays up today. No funny business. Alright. Better keep your mouth shut and say nothing, got it? You'll never make friends if you are this bossy, you know. I spotted jokingly, but she didn't seem to appreciate it. She stared at me briefly and decided to say nothing more. She then walked to the bathroom to clean up. Unlikely as it might be, but if they were going to pay the ransom, they would let me go without me risking anything. The real problem would be if it was just to buy time. I wasn't sure what they would do if there was a delay. Either I escape on my own or I waited for the police rescue. Well, I would worry about that after tonight. Shit. Alright, there we go. Why do you owe that much money?
My
dad tried to start a company with someone, but that partner skipped town with all the money. That should be none of your business, though. You can just file for bankruptcy. He thought he could make up the loss if the business kept running, so he loaned a ton from a loan shark. He's no businessman, so the business naturally failed. He himself skipped town too, instead of making any money. But legally, that's his own debt. Legally? She cut me off with a grunt. She then asked with a raised eyebrow. Do you think this is some entrance exam? What are the cops for if everyone follows the law? So no one can help you? She looked at me with amazement. You need to take responsibility for your own life. Isn't that your favorite line? I mean...
私がどうやって生きてきたのかってことまであんたに報告する必要があるとでも言いたいのか？
Enough. Should I fill you on how I survived till now? She shut me down decisively and fell into a deep thought next to the window with her cigarette. Shit. You look pretty tired. None of your business. She replied sourly, yet the thick, dark circles under her eyes said it all. Guarding me around the clock, plus the heavy mental stress, had taken quite a toll on her body. I told you it might spread. Shut up. I'm not in the same bad shape as you. I'm not helping you if you faint. Shut up. Lack of sleep led to a bad temper. She waved her hand to stop me from saying more. She couldn't seem to calm down on the big day. Pacing around the room, she kept checking her phone screen. It sounded from the outside of the door. Judging from the girl's shock reaction, I wasn't imagining it. Who could that be? There was questions in my mind, but I was pressed against the wall before I could even open my mouth. The girl covered my mouth in a panic and raised the knife against my cheek. The blade was so close I wouldn't dare to move an inch. Don't move. Shut up. Not able to stop the trembling in her voice, she put more force into her hand. The sharp end would stab into the throat with a simple push. It didn't appear to be an accomplice, since it didn't appear there were any other residents. One wouldn't expect a sudden visit. The police, maybe? They might be able to find me through surveillance camera footage or my cell phone signal, but could they find us this quickly only after a few days? Following the train of thoughts, the steps got closer, then it stopped right before the door. There was no hesitation, straight to the destination. In other words, they knew there was someone here. As though waiting for something, there was no sound outside the door. No one seemed to want to break the silence. Her tense right hand trembled a little. I could see the sweat dripping down her cheek. Big sis? The little girl's voice came through the door. She breathed out heavily and dropped her arms as though exhausted. She opened the door to greet the little girl who was carrying a bag and looked at her big sis innocently.
何をしている？どれほど危険なことだか分かっているの？声をかける前に私が切りつけてきたらどうするつもり？
There it is. What are you doing? Do you know how dangerous it is? If you didn't make a sound, I might have attacked you.
ごめんなさい。
Sorry. It was rare to see her getting mad at the little girl who lowered her head apologetically. Through the door, I could see the view upstairs. The red armrest and the gray wall were common sights in an old apartment building.
もういいわ。警察じゃないならそれで。
Whatever, as long as it's not the cops.
待って。こっちに来ないように言ったはずだよね。
Wait, didn't I tell you not to come?
何があった？ 誰かがあんたをよこしたの？
What happened? Who asked you to come here? She raised her head suddenly and started to shake. The little girl shouldered with a nervous expression. No one.
じゃなんで？
Then why did you...
姉ちゃんと一緒にいたいだけ。
I just wanted to be with Big Sis. Her direct response rendered the girl speechless, and she became lost in thought while rubbing the little girl's head. The little girl's motive was simple. She just wanted to be with her big sis. But her sister had more to consider. How to avoid police pursuit, what to do after getting the money. It was difficult, as it was to escape on her own, let alone taking care of the little girl.
この荷物はどうしたの？
Why'd you bring so many things? Deciding to let it go, she dropped the plastic
お父
bag.
さんが持たせてくれた。昨日の残りだって。
Miss Wang asked me to bring them over. She said they were
彼
leftovers.
女は全部知っていたの？
She knows.
わかんない。
I don't know.
体に気をつけてって。何があっても相談しに来ていいよって。
She just said you should take care of yourself and let her know if you need help. She seemed to lose her usual cool with her head lowered depressingly.
姉ちゃん。王さんが姉ちゃんのことを心配しているみたい。
Miss Wang seems worried about you. Looking at the hesitating little girl, she bit her lips and finally spoke after a while.
大丈夫。もうすぐ終わるよ。
Don't worry, it'll all be over soon. She managed to smile while rubbing the little girl's hair. Noticing the name that was brought up, who was this Miss Wang they were talking about? Yep, who's Miss Wang? Since it was the first time they brought up someone else, I decided to ask when I had the chance.
この前姉ちゃん。
She's Big Sis. Suddenly a bread roll was thrown at my face and hit me right in the face. Was thrown at me and hit me right in the face before I could react. Thank goodness it was just scallion bread. I'd be in trouble if it was a baguette.
黙れ。釜をかけるな。
Be quiet. Don't try to trick her.
いいリモだ。あいつに余計なことを話すな。
You too, Ling. Don't tell him anything. Ling? I repeated the name quietly. The girl was still scolding her sister, not paying attention to what she just revealed. If they shared the same last name, then her full name should be Ling Hanaga? The name stuck out to me. Almost felt familiar in a way.
まあいいか。これでもいい。
Whatever. It might be for the best. She passed the knife to the little girl and started to leave the room with the cell phone
彼を見
impatiently.
張っておいて。私は何がどうなっているかを聞いてくる。電話しても出ないし。
Keep an eye on him for me. I'm going to give a call and find out what's going on. They didn't pick up the phone. She impatiently mumbled and was about to step out of the room. Calling whom?
あんたは黙ることを学習できないのか？
What part of shut up don't you understand? She coldly stared
誰
at
に
me.
会おうとあんたの知ったことじゃない。わかった。
It's none of your business, got it?
お腹が空いたらパンを食べなさい。水もまだ足りてる。
Just eat the bread if you're hungry. There's also enough
す
water.
ぐ戻るから、どんなことがあっても縄をほどいちゃダメよ。
I'll be back soon, so don't you think about untying yourself. Hey, what if there's a
あ
fire?
んたは焼け死になさい。彼女が逃げられていればいい。
Then you'll be burned to death. I don't care as long as she escapes. Fine for my privilege, it only got me a merciless look, with this little girl quietly nodding on the side.
もう一度注意してやる。変な気を起こすな。
I'll remind you again, no funny business. What else can I do? Barbecue? BBQ? She wanted to say something while staring at me, but inevitably, she just grunted and left. The door closed, leaving only me and the little girl inside. We would learn if the ransom really arrived tonight or not. Shit. They would only keep a closer eye on me if the negotiation continued. If I wanted to run, now would be the best chance. This little girl had less strength than her sister, nor was she as on guard around me as she used to be. All these choices were like gambling. You never knew what would be your next card. The only thing that mattered was that you only had one chance to bid. It's gonna be good. That Miss Wang you just mentioned. She was about to talk before immediately shutting her mouth, still remembering her big sis words. I had to find another way to make her disclose it. She's your family, right? If she was the culprit, she wouldn't have asked her to rest, nor brought them food.
親戚。
Family. She mumbled my words, but finally nodded affirmatively.
王さんがいてくれなかったら、私たちは住む場所すらないし、仕事もない。
If Miss Wang didn't help us, we wouldn't even have a place to live, or people hiring
姉
us.
ちゃん以外は、王さんだけが私たちの力になってくれる。
Outside of Big Sis, Miss Wang is the only one helping us. Deep in her memory, she quietly recalled with her lowered head. I remember she said bread rolls were leftovers, which means they're either from a bakery or a shopping mall. If it were a shopping mall, then they would probably also have bentos and drinks and other work. They used to work in a bakery. Right, I almost forgot to thank you.
なんで？
Why are you thanking me? When I was sick a few days ago, weren't you the one that asked her to buy me some medicine?
私がお願いしなくても、姉ちゃんはあなたを助けたはず。
No, Big Sis would have helped you anyway. She awkwardly avoided my gaze, as though admitting that helping me was something to be embarrassed about. I understood her conflicted mind. To her, my gratitude might not be praised, but criticism. I tried to check out the girl's notebook, but she snatched it away from me. It seems like I can't read it without her permission. Oh, so you like cake? I borrowed the dessert magazine from her. I could tell her preferences from all the markings in it. Yes. She nodded eagerly. Her serious reaction was rather amusing.
ふわふわなケーキが好き。チョコ味が一番好き。いちごのもいい。
I like fluttery cake. Chocolate cake is the best. But strawberry is fine too. Though the ones you picked aren't really cheap, every one of them cost at least a few hundred Taiwan dollars. The stores she marked all looked pretty fancy. There were even a few famous ones that accepted only reservations. Even I admire these rich ladies' power of consumption. Were they eating a slice of cake or some gold foil? Or maybe pearl powder? From millions in debt to luxuries, afternoon tea, that sort of distance, is one you couldn't close up in a lifetime.
一回でもいいから、姉ちゃんと一緒に食べたかった。
Even if it was just once, I want to try them with Big Sis. Her quiet words broke my train of thought. She stood still and hung her head sadly. Moved by the sadness in her voice, I almost forgot my own conundrum. Some people live a luxurious life yet can't find fulfillment or purpose, while others only wish to be able to have an afternoon tea with their family just once. The same society, but different lives. Some people's dreams are merely trivial, daily occurrences for others. When I raised my head, the girl was already back to folding paper. Give up. It was the 5th day of my kidnapped life. I started to get really tired of the unchanged room. Whether it was the afternoon sunlight, the reflection in the window, or the air mixed with cigarette and mold smell, I didn't have any enlightening experience. I just wanted to get out of this goddamn place. What's that? Noticing the bag in her hand, I asked out of curiosity.
折り紙。
Color paper. She took out piles of colored paper. The rainbow of colors really stood out in the depressingly gray room. After a few slick movements, she had nimbly made a small paper crane out of it. She moved on to the next paper upon completion, and other one was completed in less than a minute. A paper crane?
できた折り鶴は買い取ってもらえるの。
Yes, they buy finished paper cranes from us. Oh, working from home. I heard some factories were outsourcing sewing and packaging to housewives and paid for quantity upon completion. Despite the low pay, many people took on such jobs for the convenience and flexible hours.
少しでも稼ぐの手伝いたい。早くお金を返せればいいな。
I wanted to help and make some money so we could pay up the debt sooner. She was still working while talking. It wasn't long before there was a small pile. It didn't appear to be her first time. She must have been doing this for a while. How's the payment? How much each?
10羽で2400円。急いでいるなら少し高くなる。
$800 Taiwan dollars for 1,000. More if urgent. 800 per 1,000 cranes? That's less than $1 each. Even if it took only a minute to make, it would still take 15 hours. That's less than 100 per hourly salary. Less than I expected. That's not much. Isn't this manual labor?
わかんない。折り鶴を買う人はもうあまりいないって。
Don't know. They say people don't buy paper cranes anymore.
やっぱりみんな新しいものが好きなのかな。
I guess we all prefer new things. If we were $1 million in debt, even a century would not be alone enough, let alone the interest. There was no foreseeable hope. No wonder they took the risk and kidnapped me. A horse cannot gain weight if not fed with an extra fodder. During the night, a man cannot become wealthy without earning apart from his regular pay. Illegal methods are really the only option to make money in the short term without capital. Have you tried jobs with better pay, like restaurants?
姉ちゃんがそういうのに手を出すなって。
Big sis told me to stay away from those. She interrupted me resentfully, clearly not happy about it. Confused by her reaction, I tried to explain myself, then I noticed how she was suppressing her emotions by biting her lip. Restaurant jobs with better pay. It only took me seconds before I realized what she didn't say. I averted my gaze apologetically. Sorry. I didn't mean to. She quietly lowered her gaze, but her expression did lighten up a little. How much do you owe?
いくら鶴を折っても返せないくらい。知ってる。
I know that no matter how much I make, it won't still be enough. Guessing what I had in mind, she quietly resumed
姉ちゃんを
working.
手伝う方法、これ以外知らないから。
But this is the only way I could help Big Sis. She knew this little money was inconsequential. She knew that what she was doing was illegal. Yet she could only do what she could, even if it was as pointless as filling the ocean with rocks. Do you know the story of the paper crane? I remember the bedtime story while looking at the paper crane in her hand.
千羽の鶴を折ったら願いは一つ叶う。
If you fold 1,000 paper cranes, you can make a wish. So you do now.
姉ちゃんが言ったことがある。でも全部嘘だって。
Big Sis told me that, but it was all a lie.
鶴を千羽折るだけで願いが叶うなら誰も苦労しないはずだろうって。
If all it takes is 1,000 cranes, everyone wouldn't need to work so hard. What imaginative way to put it, but I guess they didn't have time for romantic fantasies. How ironic that the dream-fulfilling paper cranes were made by people without them. I observed her side face with unease. She didn't appear to have much emotion, just as quiet as a pond in fall. The siblings had such drastically different personalities in contrast to her big sis. Anger, she just accepted it without a word. She cared about her big sis's happiness in her current life more than fairness. I didn't know how to respond, so I changed the subject. If you could have a wish, what would it be?
叶うものじゃないし。
It wouldn't come true anyway. That's why I said if. She seemed to take my random question seriously and started to contemplate it.
早く借金が返済できるように、誰かに追い回されないように、姉ちゃんにいい仕事が見つかって生活を楽しめるように。
I wanted to help the family pay off the debt. And I hope no one will come for us. I wish for Big Sis can find a happier and better job. Oi, getting a little greedy here.
あなたが言わせたんだから。
You asked me to. God won't listen to you if you ask for too many things, you know. She got interrupted by me and started to smile sadly. A smile more heartbreaking than
どう
crying.
せ叶うものじゃないんだから。
Well, they won't come true anyway. I tried to confront her, but couldn't find the words. I resented myself for even bringing this up in the first place. Looking out the window, it was dusk already, and the sun was almost gone. I wasn't sure if they had any luck with the ransom. Alright, is this where he's gonna get his ass kicked or no? There was quite an assortment of bread. I had the bread she brought back from the diner. I picked the richer looking pork floss combo and it tasted better than I expected. I used to only buy from the bakery that made fresh and organic bread. The price almost doubled, but the taste wasn't really that different. Economic equality used to be just some fancy catchphrase. I never truly understood the meaning of it until now. It is unfairness in the extreme. Even if given the same amount of effort, they would never have the same life as me. Not because of my talent, but simply because I was born to a rich family. Some people choose to work, study, and were already hundreds of thousands in debt upon graduation, while others never needed to worry about food or clothes that already had $1 million Taiwan dollars in business capital from their parents. Eventually, these people would compete fairly in the same society. It's ridiculous, really, yet there's nothing we can do about it. We are powerless against the system. The world isn't fair. Thus why she was this helpless. It was getting dark and there was no news of her big sis. I didn't know if she got the money. I started to worry. While I didn't really think they would pay, I still hope this fiasco could end on a peaceful note. If they couldn't get the money, all these thoughts intertwined in my mind. The little girl just ate the various baked goods quietly, not noticing my thoughts. You like sweets? She moved on to an egg tart after finishing her donut, neither of them fitting for a proper meal. She quietly put her hand away like a child that got caught doing something naughty. I like sweets too.
本当?
Really? She looked at me, her eyes widened, beaming with curiosity. The innocence in her expression made one question her age. She looked like a middle schooler, yet her timid personality and over-reliance on her sisters seemed to be more like an elementary school kid. Yeah, I like cookies, cakes, and ice
チョ
cream.
コレートは?
Chocolate is nice, but I prefer those with a higher percentage of cocoa. Otherwise, it is too sweet for me. Not really understanding it, she just nodded. She paused her work to grab a magazine from the book pile and flipped through the pages before putting it before me. It was a professional magazine on desserts. There were photos of famous bakeries and detailed analysis on each of them. I could see her notes on the same page, including a white chocolate cake that got specifically circled. The pure white cake was decorated with berries and covered in cocoa powder. The elaborate garnish made it more like an artwork than a pastry.
これ食べたこと?
Shit. Oops.
これ食べたことある？
Have you tried this? Nope. I solemned tried out a particular store. I only visited a few I know about. Sometimes people would give us some as gifts, but I rarely had a taste of those since I didn't visit home frequently. Speaking of which, white chocolate is actually not
なん
chocolate.
で？
Why is that? It's white because there's no cocoa powder. Did you know it's made of cocoa butter and milk solids?
そう。
Oh. She tilted her head and blinked a few times out
ど
of
う違
confusion.
うの？
Oh my god. So what's the difference? Different ingredients. I heard white chocolate is not as
美
healthy,
味しければいいんじゃないの？
but it tastes good. Can't argue with that. The difference between us was never clearer. Compared to my health concerns, she cared more about the taste. I flipped through the magazine with one hand. There were more pages with notes. I recalled myself doing the same thing on a travel guide before a trip. Every stroke of the pen was filled with anticipation. You really want to try them, huh? She lowered her head and I heard her response in a teeny
い
voice.
つか一緒に行くって。姉ちゃんが。
Big Sis said she would bring me there. I was getting a little tired of her constant mentioning of Big Sis. However, she only had her big sis to rely on. She couldn't go to school and had to become independent way before others. It just wasn't fair to call her ignorant. I sighed. My heart always felt heavy when talking to her. Sometimes I'd rather she were as angry as her sister. At least I wouldn't feel as guilty that way. The magazine was magnificent. Manifestation of her dreams, desserts, cakes, and chocolate. From my perspective, these dreams would never come true. Even if she got the money, I don't think she would be able to bring you on a foodie tour. She looked at me with an expression on the vague of tears. Seeing her depressed expression, I swallowed the words I was about to say, regretting the fact that I might have gone too far. I wanted to let her see the reality, but didn't want to hurt her either. With that said, there could be a chance for that in the future.
本当に？
Really? Yep. I responded to myself to give her confidence. The shaky light in the dark lined up her young face, which was filled with unease and sadness. She knew what her sister was doing. That very realization was what shaped her suffering. But she didn't have a choice. Could she stop her sister and convince her to focus on the proper job instead of kidnapping? There was obviously no way. Even an adult would not be able to give an answer, let alone a kid like her. She was not to be blamed here. The ones responsible were her parents, her guardian, or even her big sis. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound. She was back. Immediately, there was countless thoughts in my mind, and I realized I had no time to hesitate. The footsteps were getting closer, and my heart beat faster. I clenched and let go of my hands. The palms were drenched in sweat. Maybe, just maybe, if she did get the ransom, then it would be all over when she got here. No one would get hurt. They could restart their life a happy ending like old fairy tales, no matter how unlikely it was. I wanted to believe that slight chance, with my last chance of escape as the wager. I solemned gamble on anything, and this would be the only time I truly hoped to win. The girl entered the room with an icy expression. She had none of her usual cool anymore. Her messy hair spread across her shoulders, and I could see nothing but rage and despair in her eyes. I knew the answer without asking. Ah, fuck me. There you go. Step aside. The little girl tried nervously to get close, but only got shoved aside by her big sis, who walked towards me with big steps. Out of nowhere, a kick landed on my stomach and made me curl up in pain before I could react. A myriad of punches landed on me. Shut up and step aside! This little girl tried to pull her away, but she got scared and motionless by her sisters yelling. All of you are the same. All of you! She yelled at me hysterically, as though trying to vent all her rage upon me. I managed to cover my head with my hands, trying to shield my critical parts. There was a taste of blood in my mouth. My body spasmed uncontrollably, and even coughing up granitic juices didn't alleviate the sense of nausea. Every single time. Every time. Every fucking time! I just wanted a normal life. Why do you have to force me? What do you want from me? The yelling and the crying. The initial burning pain seemed to gradually disappear. All the noise mixed into everlasting sound in my ear, as though from somewhere far, far away. And I naively thought it would work out. I gave up my chance like a coward, believing they would pay. I knew it from the very beginning. I gave up my chance to escape, to embrace an unrealistic hope. And here I was. She finally stopped, and the only sound left in the room was the heavy breathing and sobs of the girl. Why? You said it would be alright. As though hearing her sister for the first time, the girl dropped her fist and faced the crying little girl. Her clenched fists were still trembling. Her standing posture appeared extremely lonely. Don't cry. I could hear her choking up, and there were tears in her eyes, but she stubbornly refused to let them drop. I won't let you cry either. She bit her lips and said every word forcefully. I will not cry no matter what. I already knew it would be like this. I knew no one would believe me, no matter what I did. From their perspective, we all should just go to hell. We're just some social problem. We should all just die. Just because we're poor and can't go to school. Why don't they just lock up everyone who has less than 20k income? Everyone who didn't have a middle school diploma should just get executed. What do they call us? Backup criminals? Social time bombs?
よく聞いて。
Listen to me.
誰も私たちを信じてくれないし、誰も助けてくれない。
No one will believe us, and no one will help us.
自分たちが頼りだ。私たち自身だけだ。分かった。
All we have is ourselves. Got it? It was a God! I can't speak. Declaration and an accusation, both a yell straight from her soul's deepest place. She unclenched her fist. There were spots of blood on her glove, and she just laughed, ignoring that. I know this goddamn world isn't fair. Hearing the familiar words, I finally understood the emotion behind them. It was neither helplessness nor acceptance, but rage and struggling against reality. Wait. Oh, it's still going on. For a second, I thought it stopped. Fuck me. Oh my god. We are closer to the end. Just 2 more days. Question is, I could... Nah. That's gonna be it. Probably make another one Wednesday, I hope. Well, who am I kidding? No one's gonna be watching this. But if somebody does eventually, thank you, and I'll see you next time.